and welcome to Rooftop Yoga with Beca. So this is going to be a 35-minute class roughly, aimed for beginner to intermediate, with some options to take it a bit deeper if you're feeling so inclined. So for this class you'll need a block, or you can take anything that will give you a bit of depth, so a big book or a firm cushion. And you'll also need a rolled up yoga mat. Again, you can take a blanket and roll it up to make something that will provide this kind of shape. So those are the props that you'll need. So we'll start by finding a comfortable seated pose. So that can be cross-legged, or it might be more comfortable for you to come to a kneeling position, or you might want to take your brick or book and just place it underneath, whoops, or fall over it, underneath your sit bones, and lift your seat up a little bit, which creates the elongating of the spine, so just allowing the vertebrae to stack above each other more easily. And again, if there's any tension in the hips, this might be more comfortable. And you can grab more than one block or book if the knees are still really high. So I'm just finding whatever works for you, and then coming to land on the mat. So allowing the eyes to float closed, hands come to the knees, wherever the knees are, and drawing the awareness to the breath. Breathing in and out through the nose. Checking in with Ujjayi breath if that's part of your practice. But otherwise, just inviting the breath to flow through the nose for the entirety of the class. The style of this yoga is Vinyasa flow, which is all about linking the poses together as much as it is about the stationary poses. So listen to your body. You know your body better than anybody else. So if something doesn't feel right, come out of it. I will teach variations, and you can always come to a resting pose, a child's pose, or a downward facing dog if something doesn't feel right. So just coming to land on the mat, deepening into the breath, letting go of anything that might have happened before you chose to do this video. So the theme of this class is acceptance, and that might be manifest in acceptance of what your body is allowing you to do today, if you're working with any low energy or any injuries or anything. It might be acceptance that through the physical practice, the mind will come to accept something that's happening that maybe wasn't what was planned, or something that is an extreme situation, a change in a relationship, many things. So I invite you to invite acceptance through this practice, accepting what the body is able to do with the support of the mind and the breath. So we'll start by chanting one long Om together. So from your comfortable seated pose, bringing the hands to meet at the heart center in Namaste. Shoulders are relaxed. The head is stacked over the shoulders, and the shoulders are stacked over the hips. The spine is one long straight line. The core is gently engaged, so hugging the navel up towards the spine. Forearms are parallel to the ground, and the eyes float gently closed. So we'll take a deep breath in together, and then with the exhalation we'll make the sound of Om. So inhaling, and then keeping the eyes closed, rubbing the palms together to create some heat. And you can feel that heat in the palms of the hands, placing the palms over the eye sockets with the fingertips resting in the hair, and allowing the heat and the pressure of the palms to release the muscles around the eyes. And then in your own time, drawing the fingertips down the forehead and giving yourself a gentle massage. So moving along the forehead to the temples, working around the eye sockets, coming to the Ajna chakra, your third eye spot in between the eyebrows, and then working down the nose and towards the jaw, down to the chin, and then back up, and maybe in front and behind of the ears, and then slowly coming to the neck and doing some self-massage wherever it feels right, eventually landing on the shoulders, giving the shoulders a gentle massage, and then when you're ready, drawing the hands back down to meet the knees and blinking the eyes open. Taking a couple of breaths to take in the sunset. And then we'll take some easeful warming up from a seated position. So first of all, sending the right hand along the mat, making sure that it's lined up with the hip, and then inhaling the left arm up to the sky and exhaling, bending over to the right hand side. So here, being conscious of that left sit bone being connected to the ground or to the block, being conscious of the navel hugging back towards the spine here also. Shoulders are relaxed, there's space in between the ear and the arm, and then this might be the expression, or you might be able to go a bit deeper. If you're on a block, that'll be more difficult, but just listening to your body, maybe walking the fingers further away, maybe the forearm comes down to the mat, but wherever you are, breathing and finding the expression that your body needs right now. Breathing into the pose, and then at the bottom of the next exhalation, releasing the right arm down to the mat. Again, aligning it with the hip, inhaling the right up to the sky. We're aligning the left with the hip, and then exhaling, reaching that right arm over to the left hand side. Enjoying the stretch all the way up the right side body. Again, walking the fingertips further away if that's available to you, being conscious of the shoulders being relaxed and the core strong. Breathing here. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, releasing the right arm, bringing the left in towards the hips also. And then if you've taken a lift, if you're sitting on a block or anything else, just moving that out to one side, putting it out of the way. And then if you're kneeling, coming onto all fours. If you're in cross leg, just rolling over the knees and coming to find a tabletop position. So here, checking that the hands are directly under the shoulders, they're shoulder distance apart. Checking that the inner elbows are facing each other, that the knees are directly underneath the hips, the legs are parallel and the toes are pointing towards the back of the mat. Here also the navel is hugging up towards the spine, so there's some engagement in the core there, and the gaze is down
to the mat in between the thumbs. So the back is flat, as if you could place something on it like a table. And just taking a couple of moments here in this active stationary pose, pressing down through the fingers. Fingers are spread nice and wide, pressing down to the tops of the feet. And then we'll flow through the cow and the cat to awaken the spine. So with the inhalation, sending the sits bones to the sky and the gaze to the sky, arching the spine like a saggy back Indian cow. And then with the exhalation, rounding through the spine, finding an arch in the back like an angry cat. Inhaling, coming back to cow. Exhaling for cat. And then flowing through this in your own time, taking it as quickly or as slowly as feels good. Inhaling, curve, exhaling up. And then wherever you are, taking one more cow and one more cat, and then coming back to center, sending the palms slightly further away, tucking into the toes, pushing the sits bones back towards the heels, and pushing up and back into downward facing dog, Ardha Mukha Svanasana. So from here, pressing down through the hands, down through the feet, hips are high, ribs are hugging in towards the spine here also. Option to walk into the feet, so lifting right heel and dropping left, then lifting left and dropping right, if there's any tension in the backs of the legs. And taking that walk for as long as feels good. In your own time, coming to stillness, shoulder blades moving down the back, shoulders are relaxed, thighs are strong, kneecaps moving up towards the thighs, and the gaze is in between the big toes. Breathing here. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, raising the gaze in between the thumbs, coming up onto tiptoes and walking the legs all the way up to meet the hands. So the legs can bend as much as they need to, and then once you get there, just bringing the feet to hip distance apart and allowing the upper body to droop down. So there can be a micro bend of the knees here if there's any tension behind the legs. If not, legs are strong, thighs engaged. And then this pose isn't about touching the floor at this point. We're just releasing the spine towards the ground. So the hands can hang wherever they hang to. Taking the head to nod yes and no, maybe. Maybe taking a hold of opposite elbows if that feels good. Feeling as if the spine from the base all the way to the crown of the head is like the branch of a weeping willow tree. Breathing here. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, releasing the elbows if you took a hold of them, bending deeply into the knees and then rolling up through the spine, vertebra by vertebra, as slowly as you can. And then inhaling the shoulders up, back and down. Up, back and down. Alright, so we will now do a sun salutation. So coming to the top of the mat, feet are together, pressing down through the toes and down through the heels. Tailbone is pointing down towards the ground. The core is strong here also, so just gently hugging the navel back towards the spine. Shoulders are relaxed. And then drawing the palms to meet at the heart center. Gaze is forwards. And And then inhaling the arms up either side of the ears. Exhaling, forward bend. Inhaling, halfway lift, so finding a flat back here. The palms come to the shins or the ankles or maybe the floor. But the idea is to flatten the back. And then from here, planting the palms and stepping back into plank pose. So the body is straight like a stick here, nice and strong. And then exhaling, knees, chest and chin down to the ground. Inhaling forwards into cobra. Tops of the feet come down to the mat. Palms are either side of the chest, gazes forwards. And then tucking the toes and pushing up and back into downward facing dog. Taking a few moments to breathe here. You can walk into the feet if that feels better on the backs of the legs. But wherever you are breathing, checking that the navel is hugging up towards the spine, shoulders, blades moving down the back. And then raising the gaze in between the thumbs, stepping up to the top of the mat. Gaze comes forwards to find that flat back. Exhaling, forward bend. Inhaling the arms up to the sky and exhaling, namaste. We'll do another round. Inhaling up, exhaling, forward bend. Inhaling, halfway lift, planting the palms, stepping or jumping back into plank pose. From plank, exhaling, knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga, down to the ground. Inhaling up through up dog or cobra, and then tucking the toes and pushing up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. And then raising the gaze in between the thumbs, stepping the right foot all the way through in between the hands. If that foot doesn't want to come, you can always take the right hand to the back of the right ankle and encourage it forwards. From here, dropping the left knee down to the mat. You can always roll the mat over if the knee is feeling the ground too much there. And then from here, inhaling both arms up either side of the ears. So shoulders are relaxed, gaze is forwards, navel hugging back towards the spine here also, and breathing. Option to stay here or to raise the left knee off the ground. Wherever you are, listen to your body, accept what level your body needs this evening. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, framing that front foot with both hands, dropping the knee down if you had it raised, and then stepping up and back into downward facing dog. So option to stay here or to flow through the vinyasa. If you're flowing, you're coming forwards through plank, exhaling knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga down to the ground, inhaling up through up dog or cobra, and then tucking the toes and pushing up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. And then raising the gaze in between the thumbs, inhaling the left leg forwards this time. Again, taking the hand to the ankle to give it some encouragement. Right knee drops down to the mat. And then inhaling both arms up either side of the ears. Again, navel hugging back towards the spine, shoulders relaxed. Option to raise the back knee if you did on the other side. Wherever you are, listening to your body. Breathing. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, framing the front foot with both hands and stepping up and back into downward facing dog. So option to stay here in downward facing dog, or you can take a child's pose, which is dropping the knees down to the mat, dropping the tops of the feet down to the mat, sending the sits bones back towards the heels and bringing the forehead down towards the ground, arms extended. So option to take child's pose at any point throughout the practice if you feel like you need to accept a rest. There's the the option here to also take the vinyasa if you've got more energy for the practice at the moment. And if you're taking the vinyasa, you're coming forwards through plank, exhaling, knees, chest and chin, down to the ground, or chaturanga, inhaling up through up dog or cobra, and then tucking the toes, pushing up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. And then raising the gaze in between the thumbs, inhaling the right foot forwards, again giving it a helping hand if necessary, dropping the left heel down, just checking that the heels are aligned along the center of the mat, right leg is at right angles, and then inhaling to cartwheel the arms up for Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2. So here the hips are opening out to the side, right leg is deeply bent, left leg is strong and straight, and the gaze is over the right middle finger. Just checking that the left hand is at the same height as the shoulder. And then we'll transition into Trikonasana, triangle pose. So straightening that front leg. If you feel like your feet are too far apart, just easily stepping the back leg slightly further in to meet the front. Thighs are engaged, kneecaps moving up towards the thighs, and then inhaling here, length up through the spine, and exhaling, reach as far as you can towards the front, and then when you can't reach any further, hinging down so that the outside edge of the right hand comes to the inside edge of the right leg, left hand extending towards the sky. So here the gaze is either going to be down to the right big toe or up to the left thumb. And breathing, breath into the physical body, accepting whatever expression of this pose is available to you right now. Keep breathing. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, looking down to that right big toe, framing the right foot with both hands and stepping up and back into downward facing dog. So yogi's choice here, you can stay in dog, you can take child's pose, or you can flow through the vinyasa. If you're flowing through the vinyasa, you're coming forwards into plank, exhaling knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga, down to the ground, inhaling up through up dog or cobra, and then tucking the toes, pushing up and back into downward facing dog. So we'll meet in downward facing dog if you're in child's pose, pushing up and back to meet. And then raising the gaze in between the thumbs, inhaling the left leg forwards this time. From here, dropping the right heel down to the mat, checking that the heels are aligned. And then cartwheeling the arms up for Virabhadrasana 2 on the left hand side. So again, checking that the hips are open to the side, left knee is tracking over the left foot, shoulders are above the hips, arms extended and gaze is over the left middle finger. Breathing here. And then moving into Trikonasana, triangle pose, extending the left leg, stepping the right foot in if the legs feel really far apart, and then inhaling length up through the spine, and exhaling, reaching towards the front as far as you can, and then hinging down so the outside edge of the left hand comes to the inside edge of the left leg, and the right arm is extending towards the sky. Feeling as if the chest can rotate towards the sky or the roof, legs are strong, and looking down to the left big toe or up to the right finger. Keep breathing, and then at the bottom of the next exhalation, framing the front foot with both hands and stepping up and back into downward facing dog. Yogi's choice here. You can stay in dog, or you can flow through the additional vinyasa. If you're flowing, you're coming forwards through plank, exhaling, knees, chest and chin, or chaturanga down to the ground. Inhaling up through up dog or cobra, and then tucking the toes, pushing up and back into downward facing dog. Breathing here. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, dropping the knees down to the centre of the mat, we'll come into child's pose, balasana. So the tops of the feet come down. Also, knees are wide this time, so taking the knees to mat distance apart. Toes come together, heels drop apart, and then the sits bones come back to meet the heels and the arms extend. So just taking a few breaths here. The forehead is moving down towards the mat. The sits bones are moving towards the heels, and the hands can be palms flat on the mat, or you can come up onto the tips of the fingers if that feels good. And then from here, sending the hands behind the back, interlacing the fingers, and then moving the clasped hands towards the mat beyond your head. So accepting whatever space you've got in your shoulders right now. And then once you've moved the hands, just taking some circles with the hands. So first of all, in one direction. Then after taking 3 circles, rotating in the other direction. And then releasing the hands, extending the arms out once more towards the front of the mat, and just allowing the forehead to come down. Breathing here. And then pressing into the hands, walking the hands up towards the body so that you're in a kneeling position, and then sending the hips over to one side and extending the legs out in front. So just moving the flesh away from the sits bones, legs are strong, kneecaps moving up towards the thighs, feet are flexed, and we'll take Janu Shirshasana, head to knee pose. So bending into the right foot, bringing the right heel in towards the left thigh. From here, taking an easeful twist around to the left. Coming back to center, and then inhaling the arms up by the sides of the ears, and exhaling, reaching forwards as far as you can, extending the spine, and then allowing the hands to come down to shin, ankle, wherever they may be. With every inhalation, feeling as if you can find length through the spine, and with every exhalation, feeling as if you can release the head down towards the leg. Breathing. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, inhaling both arms up by the sides of the ears, releasing those hands, bringing the knee into the center line, and then stepping the right foot over the left. So option to stay here with the left leg extended, or if you can curve it around without that right sit bone coming off the floor. So if this happens when you bend your leg, keep the leg extended. If when you bend the leg, sit bone stays down, no problem. So wherever you are, you'll get the same twist, so it doesn't matter. So from here, taking the right hand and placing it at the base of the spine behind you, as close to the body as possible, and then inhale the left arm up to the sky, and exhaling, taking the outside edge of the left arm to the outside edge of the right leg, and twisting the torso around to the right. With every inhalation, finding length up through the spine, and with every exhalation, see if you can twist just a little deeper. If the left leg is extended, that foot is flexed. Breathing.
And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, bringing the head back to center, releasing the arms. And then if the leg was curled around, sending it back out in front, uncrossing the right from the left, and then extending that leg back to meet your left foot. So we'll repeat that on the other side. So this time bending into the left knee, bringing the left foot into the right thigh, taking an easeful twist around to the right, coming back to center, inhaling the arms up either sides of the ears, and then exhaling, lengthening forwards as far as you can for Janu Shirshasana on the right side. Breathing. And then with the next inhalation, taking the arms back at the sides of the ears, releasing the arms, and then bringing the left knee into the center line, crossing it over the right, taking the leg to bend around if you did so on the other side, otherwise leaving that right leg extended, and then taking the left hand to the base of the spine, inhaling the right arm up to the sky and exhaling, twisting around to the left. Gaze is towards the left shoulder. Breathing, with every inhalation lengthening, with every exhalation deepening. And then at the bottom of the next exhalation, bring the head back to center, releasing the arms, uncrossing that left leg, and sending it back out to meet the right. So from here, bringing the knees to bend, feet come down to the mat, knees are hip distance apart, and then taking the arms to shoulder height, palms facing each other, engaging through the core and rolling down, vertebra by vertebra, as slowly as you can until the spine is on the floor. From here, bending the knees and bringing the feet in to the sit bones so they're close and you can touch them. From here, palms come face down on the ground, and then with the inhalation, peeling the spine off the floor for Setuasana, bridge pose. So lower back, middle back, and then upper back come off the floor, and then once you get there, rolling the shoulders underneath the body, interlacing the fingers. With every inhalation, feeling as if you can take the hips just a couple of millimeters higher, pressing down through the feet, through the shoulders, through the hands. Knees are energetically moving towards each other. And then the bottom of the next exhalation, releasing the hands, unrolling the shoulders, and then lowering upper, middle, and then lower back down to the ground. Once the back gets there, giving it a little shake on the floor. From here, taking the arms slightly out the way and just allowing both knees to flop over to one side. So the feet stay where they are, and that means that the right knee will come in kind of towards where the sole of the left foot is. Inhaling both legs back up to center, then exhaling, dropping them both over to the right hand side. This time left knee comes into roughly where the sole of the right foot is. We'll take one more on each side, so inhaling back center, exhaling, dropping both knees over to the left, inhaling back to center, dropping both knees over to the right. And then coming back to center, bending the knees in towards the chest and giving yourself a little hug.
So being conscious here that the lower back is connected to the ground, so you've got as much connection as possible. That might mean bringing the knees closer towards the body, moving them further away, but finding that point that's right for you, and then rocking from left to right to give the lower back a gentle massage. And then coming to stillness, taking the hands to behind the knees and just extending the legs up to the sky for a supported restorative inversion. So the lower back here is pressing down into the ground. The arms are supporting the legs, and you can point and flex the feet here. Legs are straight and strong. Gaze is towards the feet. Breathing. And then bringing the feet to stillness, bending the knees back in towards the chest, giving yourself one last hug. And we will now transition into our final pose of the class, Shavasana. So extending the legs so that the heels are mat distance apart, the toes are flopping out to the side, the arms open so the palms are face to the sky, and the eyes float closed. If there's any tension in the lower back here, you can take that rolled up mat or the blanket that we talked about at the start and just bring it so that it's underneath the knees. So wherever that might be for you, just giving a little bit of ease into the lower back. And then once you've found your comfortable relaxation pose, just letting go of any control of the breath, accepting the stillness. Inviting the mind to use the stillness of the earth beneath you to bring stillness also in the mind. Allowing the breath to flow naturally. Knowing that the mind will try and get attached to thoughts, but that you can just identify that that's what it's doing and gently watch them pass. A bit like clouds in the sky on a breezy day. And then gently bringing the awareness back into the breath. Deepening into the breath. And then wiggling into the fingers and wiggling into the toes. Rolling the head from side to side. Rolling the arms and legs from side to side. And then inhaling, pointing the feet, bringing the feet together. Extending the arms above the head, reach, 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 and release. And one last time, inhaling, stretch, 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 and release. And then bending into the knees, rolling over onto the left-hand side, taking a moment with the forehead on the mat, and then in your own time, pressing down with the right hand, and coming to find a comfortable seated position. So again, you might want to grab your block or whatever you're using for a lift. You might want to kneel, but just
wherever you are, consciously stacking the head on top of the shoulders on top of the hips. Navel is drawing up towards the spine here. Sit bones grounding down. Eyes float closed. And I invite you to take the acceptance that we talked about in this class into whatever challenges or whatever changes might be meeting you for the rest of the day or the week. So we'll close with one long Om. Bringing the palms to meet at the heart center in Namaste. Eyes float closed if that feels good. Shoulders are relaxed. We'll take a deep breath in together, and then with the exhalation we'll make the sound of Om. So inhaling. Namaste. Thank you for joining me.